Bust it.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to Political Platform on RAPA on AIT. My name is Amechi Anakwe. Of course, the political turf is becoming more interesting by the day. More and more converts signing in to the call for the establishment of state police. The governors, through the chairman of the Governors Forum, Yari, governor of Zamfara State, yesterday joined the bandwagon after the presidency did a similar thing some few days ago. Now the issue is almost a reality now. The National Assembly members are expected to key in. These are the principal stakeholders who decide whether Nigeria should adopt a state police. Of course, a way of devolution of power from the center to the component units. But the big question, the very factor that has prevented the institution of state police in Nigeria, how would the governors who would likely be in charge, total charge, handle state police in the country? The questions we should be asking this morning: what steps, what policy measures, what laws, what mechanisms should we put in place to ensure that the governors who are little G-gods in their states don't entirely hijack the state police and use it to run political opponents out of their states? There are some governors we know, if you give them that opportunity now, there will be no opposition left in their state. What institutional mechanism do we put in? Should we talk about ensuring that we first separate the office of the accountant general, the attorney general, from the other one that is also attached to it? That's the issue of just from the federal level, Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice at the federal level, and Attorney General of the state and Commissioner of Justice at the state level. If we do this, then we have a professional who will, of course, handle the issue of prosecution by the police to separate from government or governance control. These are steps we have to take. Of course, earlier on all previous editions of this program, we raised the issue of funding salaries for the policemen at the state level, a situation where some of them are old. How would they react when they are bearing arms? These are some of the issues we must have to contend with, as it appears that state police will soon be a reality in Nigeria. And the PDP says it is talking with some governors in the north central geopolitical zone, some APC governors that will hope to switch over to the PDP. Of course, they came from no other person than the chairman of the PDP, Uche Secondos. And two states will readily come to your mind: Benue and Kwara. Of course, in Benue State, PDP governors have been going on a pilgrimage to the mass burial site for the 73 people that were killed recently by suspected herdsmen. And in Kwara State, it's almost a done deal. The PDP stalwarts in Kwara are just trying to put mechanisms in place to ensure that when the APC members from there, including the governor and those in the National Assembly, move over to the PDP, they don't just hijack the structure there. They want to also to be factored in. These are the big issues. When it comes from the chairman of the PDP, then you know that some fireworks are already coming from under. My name is Amechi Anakwe. My colleagues are here. Adebayo Bodurin is with us in the studio this morning.
Amechi, it's nice to be back after a short break. And today is historic in Nigeria. Historic in the sense that it is exactly 42 years when Muritala Muhammad was assassinated, brutally assassinated on the street of Lagos by people we now refer to as gangsters, although they were also in the military. The uniqueness in remembering Muritala is that whenever the subject of discussion is leadership, openness, transparency, anti-corruption, and then sanity in the civil service, you cannot but remember Muritala for what he did when he was in office. And it's sad for us as a nation that is the only reference point that we have in the country as at now. And it's also interesting that at the time when we are remembering Murtala is that it's also at a time when, for the first time in nearly 4 years, that an African leader won the Mo Ibrahim award. A lady, and a lady, well, you cannot deny her that opportunity. You cannot deny her the criteria. She met a devastated country by war. She battled the Ebola, and at least what remains that Liberia is a country today and there is stability. And away from that, from Imo State, Rochas Okorocha came out yesterday that he will endorse his son-in-law as his successor.
Of course, this clears the doubt and the speculations that have been going on since. What's the name again? Uche Nwosu. The only criteria Rocha has put off is if Uche Nwosu, his son-in-law, husband to the first daughter, who's the current chief of staff, if he signifies interest, he will indeed support him. He recalls, puts to mind what happened in Plateau State in 2015 when the governor, Jonah Jang, tried to bring in his son-in-law again, but the people said no at the polling station. But talking about Murtala Mohammed, an exceptional leader, he was in office for just 6 months.
Over 189 days.
But of course, his legacy are still towering higher above those that even stayed nearly a decade. But if you go to Delta State, those in Asaba will also tell you they have an axe to grind with him over the role he played in the alleged massacre of some Asaba men during the Biafran Civil War. That's the two sides of the story. Ijomo Samuel is also with us in the studio.
Thank you very much, Amechi. I think Rochas Okorocha is only trying to bring Cuba into Nigeria because if the Castros can give powers to their family members, it is also not a surprise that the Nigerian governor is also transferring the power to a son-in-law. It's there within the family. Now, talking about the issue you raised earlier on PDP going to woo governors from different states, it is some of the these are some of the things we will expect before the 2019 election. You see the parties going to woo. It's not just PDP. The APC too is also doing its own on-the-ground job, going to woo some members from the People's Democratic Party to join them. By the end of March, we'll be seeing some fireworks. We'll know those that will be coming out as presidential candidates from each political parties, and we'll also know those that will leave their party, jump ship, and go to other parties. So it's going to be very tough. We still do not know whether the former president Olusegun Obasanjo's coalition is coming out with an idea to push someone up. We are still waiting. Let's just wait. In the next few weeks, we will know where Nigeria is heading to.
Ujueje completes our number.
Amechi, I was just thinking about Imo State. Dear Imo State, it's such a, I don't know, it's such a sad development that Imo State has become the major ridicule of this nation when governance is mentioned. You talk about Abolagi. Have you? It's the only state where statues are being erected anyhow, and it has become a butt of joke when people say Abolagi when they greet you.
That's have you been molded?
Have you been molded? Has your own statue been erected? It's so sad. It's the only state where you have relations being appointed as commissioners. Like the governance of Imo State has gone into the hands of one family, the Commissioner for Happiness, the only ambassadorial nominee from Imo State, a relation, and now he says his son-in-law. I would like to believe that
the Minister of State for Education
exactly a relation too. Imo State is not a banana republic, just like Nigeria is not a banana republic. This is a democracy where everybody is free to aspire to any position, and under no condition must such, I don't know how to put it, such acts, such behavior be tolerated. I believe that Imo people will rise up and remove this stigma from themselves so that Imo can raise its head with pride again.
Well, they will have their day. Of course, we shall be devoting time to the not monkey business this time around, not rat business, but snake business. Snake swallowing
Bad.
36 million naira in the Makurdi office of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board. We'll be joining the spokesperson for more on this. But before then, we'll take some of the mails you sent to our email platform. Recall that your input is quite appreciated here, and we suggest and continue to plead that continue to make comments, suggestions, and express your thoughts on topical national issues.
Thanks, Amechi. Welcome to the mail segment. I'm Amaka Okoro.
And I am Aladi Doko. Welcome.
We'll begin with a mail from Emekamba from Abuja, and he writes on governors and the state police. The mail reads, Dear crew members, in your analysis last week, Ohire expressed the fear that the governors might not be able to cope with the payment of salaries of police in their various states if state police takes effect, as evident in their inability to pay workers. While this seems so, I beg to differ, as I strongly believe that with prudence and sincerity of purpose, payment of workers' salaries should not be a problem to any state, and this was proved beyond all reasonable doubt not long ago in Anambra State by former governors Chris Ngige and Peter Obi. We recall that former Governor Mpadinoju owed workers and pensioners in Anambra State for a whole year, citing paucity of funds, but Chris Ngige came and cleared the salaries and pension arrears while embarking on heavy infrastructure development. Why are we so docile and watching the governors turn state funds into their private accounts and spending as they deem fit without any form of accountability whatsoever? Really amazing. If governors cut down on their expensive and lavish lifestyle, I am positive that workers and pensioners will not only get paid promptly, there will be massive infrastructure development in every state.
Still in that light, Okochukwuka from Enugu State says, in addition to Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo, Nigerian governors under the aegis of Nigerian Governors Forum have added their voices to the call for state police. This has become imperative considering the level of insecurity in the country, which has become intractable. The recent incident in Benue State, where the governor could not single-handedly deploy the police in the state to quell farmers and herdsmen crisis in Benue, despite being the chief security officer of the state, exposed the flaws of our constitution. I encourage the National Assembly, as a matter of urgency, to include state police in the ongoing constitution amendments it is working on. God bless Nigeria. And that's it on today's mail segment. To keep your mails coming, it's Political Platform at yahoo.com.
Let's start with explanations from INEC over disturbing pictures coming from last weekend's local government elections in Kano State, where minors were massively, of course, being part of the voting process, thumbprinting, and of course, deciding who will become their chairman and councillors. Of course, it's one quite disturbing trend. It has forced a statement from INEC. They said they did not conduct the election. Local council elections by our laws are conducted by CX, that's State Independent Electoral Commissions, that in elections where they conduct, where they organize, that you see a little difference, that they tend to indeed apply some measures to weave off and weed out underage voters.
Amechi, good enough that INEC did not conduct the local government election in the state. But we should ask INEC one question. The election register, who gave it to the state? Because I don't remember any state carrying out registration before the election. So I know that it is INEC election register, the voter register, that the state electoral commission used for their elections. But if INEC comes out to say those people are not registered, they are not card-carrying members, or probably they were pushed by a particular political bigwigs to go there and cast their vote so that they can have large number of votes. That would be fair enough. For them to say they didn't conduct that election, fine and good. We know that the Constitution says state elections, local government elections, I beg your pardon, will be handled by state CIEC, but the register is from INEC. So if you find an underage voter with a PVC, we need to ask INEC questions. How did it happen? INEC has said they will do all they can to make sure that this kind of trend doesn't continue. I believe them because I remember the INEC chairman addressing us a few weeks ago saying that it is the citizens that should help INEC. When you see an underage person queuing up where they are doing registration, then you raise alarm. That's why I said, let everybody be a part of this. We can stop it now.
Amechi, this is a trend that has been going on for years. It's not a new thing. I think the only new angle is maybe
the scale. It was on a larger scale this time.
It has always been like that. I mean, I've covered elections now for God knows how long. I've covered the political bit for over 20 years.
Or maybe this one
so
was well
I know
documented.
what I have seen exactly. And again, maybe the coming in of social media, you know, has also helped in exposing some of these things where they refuse to accept what the conventional media has been highlighting. I told you in 2011, I did a special report on the issue of underage voters. They were there, I interviewed them with their names. They quoted, they showed me, I even said, show me the ink, your finger where you voted. And they showed me with the ink on the finger. So INEC cannot claim not to know that this trend has been there. But I think that now that knowledge is increasing, people are becoming more interested in the electoral process. People are becoming more aware. The truth is now traveling further than they can't cover up anymore.
I think my own worry is that local government elections in this country, whether in Kano, whether in Katsina, whether in Ekiti, whether anywhere, has become an established case study on how not to hold an election.
Yeah.
And I think now that we are seeking to amend the Electoral Act, it is the National Assembly must be interested in all elections in the country, whether local, whether councillorship, whether anything. At least they must be able to set the standard. Because if you look at those pictures coming from Kano, you get worried that if this trend continue, what will happen in 2019? And therefore, if it repeats itself in 2019, it's going to be a major threat to democracy. Some political parties boycotted the election in Kano. They did not even field candidates. A faction of the ruling party in the state also boycotted the election. Yet, 2.6 million voters were recorded to have voted at the election.
How
I stand with you on the issue of the elections conducted by state independent electoral commissions. At some point, there were moves. The last 2014 National Conference said local council elections should be conducted by the central electoral body. That's the Independent National Electoral Commission. If you go to the states, we keep complaining here. All manners of atrocities are committed all in the name of local government elections. And there are some issues we have to talk of here. Most times they don't even use the PVC, the card reader. Most times they
don't use it.
Resort to manual voter register.
It's easier to manipulate.
It gives them all the opportunity in the whole world to do what they want to do. And it is something we need to, just as with state police, we know we are going to adopt state police, and we have state independent electoral commission, and we see what they are doing. That's why I insist we must take some proactive steps to protect the issue of the operation of state police. Proactive steps, maybe guaranteeing tenures of the commissioner to be appointed by the governor, or even taking away the power to appoint from the governor and take it to the National Assembly, and insisting that we must fully grant financial autonomy to the state assemblies to ensure that when they are given such a big role to play in the operation of state police, they can independently do it. Same way, we must not continue to fold our hands and watch, of course, the issue of our elections being made a caricature by almost every state of the federation. They will refuse to even conduct elections in the first place, but when they do, it becomes a big mockery. But let's move ahead now. Any moment from now, anytime this week, Operation Ayem at Batuma will be on in the North Central. Of course, it is a thief word for cat race. Of course, a military operation going on there. The military has given reasons, and they said they hope to target cattle rustlers, deal with marauding herdsmen, and restore peace, as well as mop up illegal arms in these areas. They hope to do cordon and search and of course, a lot of military drills are expected. It's coming out against a meeting held at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa, Abuja, on Monday, National Security Council meeting chaired by the president. So we hope this operation will go on smoothly. And from there, let's quickly move to, say, in Makurdi, North Central, where a rat was said to have, a snake rather, was said to have swallowed 36 million naira. Of course, proceeds of scratch cards sold to those students that stand for the JAMB exam. But we heard, of course, we'll be talking to the JAMB spokesperson, that's Fabian Benjamin, who will, of course, give us more explanation. But from the little we gathered, it was an excuse tendered by the woman who is supposed to be in custody of the money. After she couldn't account for it, she claimed that some persons brought a spiritual snake and it just swallowed the money.
Amechi, how ridiculous can we get? How ridiculous? How can a woman with a womb, somebody who is supposed to have a conscience, come up with such, I don't know, something you could refer to as an atrocious lie? I mean, it's bad enough that you couldn't account for such huge amount of money under your care, and then you now have to come up with this kind of ridiculous lie. I saw a cartoon yesterday where the rat was complaining. He said, you see, they said I chased the president out of his office. Now, the snake now said, you see, now they are also accusing me of having taken money that I know nothing about. I don't know what is wrong with this country. People have mortgaged their conscience. They no longer fear God. They no longer have a conscience. The kind of things we do in this country, like they are trying to turn Nigeria into a banana republic where anything goes, and we must resist it. We must, ensure that things are sanitized, things are done properly. The authorities must do their work in this case.
Amechi, I don't just want to believe that story. I may just say maybe she made a statement out of durex, because I don't expect a snake to swallow that. Yes, maybe she made a statement out of durex. Some persons even pee when they are under investigation because they do not know what to do on themselves. They do that, but it is not left in the hands of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to handle this issue and bring out the truth out of what we hear.
What they have promised, they said
yes.
the ego,
the ego is feasting on the snake these days.
Swoop on the snake very soon.
Amechi, we have had such talks in the past. Let them make it good. Look at Mena Gate. Mena Gate is still unresolved. It's almost been swept under the carpet. The $25 billion from NNPC, we're hearing nothing about it. The one of Babachir Lawal. There are so many cases that are begging to be resolved. But this must not go that way too.
We must give credit to the new leadership of JAMB. Before the new leadership, JAMB, which generates revenue, will remit only 5 million naira to the Federation account. But since this new leadership came on, billions of naira are being remitted into the Federation account. And it is the audit process. I spoke yesterday with the head of media and publicity of JAMB, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, and he told me that they have also discovered, apart from this story of snake in Makurdi, there are some other bizarre stories from other states where monies have been misappropriated, unaccounted for. Some of those that were left with this money will claim that the recharge card got burnt, or that it was stolen, or he had an accident, but they were able to trace that. The recharge cards were sold in other states. So there's a concerted effort going on within JAMB to really sanitize that institution to ensure that, of course, it plays its role in the Nigerian Federation. Just before we go, the PDP chairman talking about some talks with governors of APC states in the North Central states. He didn't mention any state, but from what we are reading, Benue and Kwara may likely be the people that may be showing interest.
Amechi, it's neither here nor there for now, but of course you can see that there are moves everywhere. Even the smaller political parties are also keen into the alignment and realignment of forces towards the 2019 elections. The PDP is trying to play all its cards, so also the APC. But above, what all of them are doing is that they must put their houses in order. If not, if a third force emerges like what happened in 2015 or 2014 towards the 2015 election, then these two big parties may be shaken a bit, but it's good. It's to be expected, and there will even be more horse trading as the days unfold.
I mean, Joma, a group in Kaduna State, Kaduna Central Concerned Citizens, say they have perfected plans to begin the recall process of Senator Shehu Sani. They said because of two things, he has been too critical of President Muhammad Buhari, and he has not done enough for the constituency in the Senate. Of course, Dino Melaya is still battling a recall process against him. So if they carry out this threat, there will be 2 APC senators who are facing recall threats.
Amechi, it is not easy to recall a member of the National Assembly. You remember what we went through in Kogi? Then they need to tell this group that you need to have a large number of persons that can sign with their voter cards, and also they must be eligible people that are living in Kaduna State for them to recall a senator. So if they say they want to start this, well, it's a free world. You can just go there and register your pain. But I still think the issue of recalling is political. So you cannot just sit down and say, because this person is not in support of those I believe in, we have to recall the person. They go to the Constitution. I want to advise the group. Go to the Nigerian Constitution, go to the Electoral Act, read properly, and find out how the recall process will have to take place. You don't just go and hold meetings and press conference and start announcing that you are recalling somebody.
And at the end of it all, you still have to make recourse to the Senate before the person can be recalled. And that is something that they may not be able to pull off.
Very tedious process, but it is the right of constituents to carry a recall of elected members. It's part of the checks and balances.
I would also like to
we encourage even more people to take up this move as a way of making the elected representatives sit up and sit tight.
Amechi, if what they said, the two reasons they gave, you look at it, I mean, what is wrong in criticizing if you are doing it constructively? And so far from what we've seen, I do not think that Senator Shehu Sani has been criticizing the wrong way. Most people believe that he's a man of truth who calls a spade. And if their own idea of not doing much is this idea of buying things that are not supposed to, they have lawmakers have been forced boxed into a corner to be buying things for their constituency. Whereas their business is lawmaking.
It is their responsibility and it is their civic duty. If they believe he does not have any need to be there, they can institute that process, and we of course encourage them to do so. It's a way of a deepening democracy. Unfortunately, we couldn't get across to the JAN spokesperson, maybe some other time, but thank you so much for being part of the program today. On behalf of my crew, the entire crew, and my colleagues, my name is Amechi Anapwe. Have a good day.